So I love this short pyramid-style hip mobility sequence. We don't need anything else. We're going to start lying down. So come onto your back. And with the feet on the floor, knees up, let's start in a supine figure 4 shape. So cross the right ankle over the left thigh, just under the knee. And we'll pause here. Take your hands onto your belly. Breathing out there, drop your low back into your mat. So just switching on the abdominal muscles, we're going to stabilize the pelvis and the low spine here. So flex the toes now back towards the knee. Keeping that, start to pick up the legs. So it might just be a little bit. You can flex the other toes as well. And then slowly coming back down. So we want this feeling of resistance, pushing away through this top leg, even as we lift up the legs. Let's take a few more. Keeping the lower back pressing down just as much as we can, lifting the legs, even though the top one's pressing in, lowering them down. Couple more. And the last one, we'll pause. We'll take a few breaths here. And it might be tempting to reach your hands around the back of that left thigh. I encourage you for this particular session just to keep your hands on your belly. Feel the left leg, that's the lower leg, drawing in towards you, and the right leg, the top leg, pushing away, keeping all the toes flexed back towards the knees. A couple of nice full breaths. And then relax, feet down. Take the right leg off, roll onto your right side. And come up part way, so just resting on your forearm there. Stretch out the left leg, which is on top, and come bend the right knee just out in front of you. Again, flex the toes back towards you. Hug your tummy in a little bit, so to stabilize the low back. And rest your left hand lightly on the inside of your thigh, just in front of the knee. We're going to lift up the right foot and shin, and then drop it back down. And lifting it up, and dropping it back down. Take a few more. It doesn't matter how far it comes up. And on that last one, the next one, pause, and we'll take 5 breaths there. Trying to keep the ankle and the foot level, not rolling inwards, so push away through the heel a little bit. See what you can feel. It's very similar to the pigeon pose in the position that we're in, but we're able to isolate this external hip rotation without all of that body weight over our knee like we have in pigeon. Not so much going for the stretch, but more that mobilization. Relax. Let's come up. As we come up to a seat, bring the left foot back by the left hip. Right leg stays exactly where it is. So we just did external rotation on that right leg. Now we're going to do internal rotation on the left one. For this, I like to keep the hands just in front of my chest as somewhere to keep them, really, and also to encourage me to sit tall. So cinch in a little bit through the waist, sit tall, look towards the left. Bring the left toes out to the side, just as much as you can, depending on your ankle mobility there. And here we're going to lift the left foot up and drop it down. Do that a few times, just kind of pulsing, really. Mine doesn't come that high. For me, the external rotation's easier. Might be completely different for you. And on the next one, you're going to pause, you're going to hold it there. See what you feel, keep sitting tall. Feel what muscles are working. And then relax. Keeping the feet, legs more or less in this position, we're going to lift the hips up. You might need to make a small adjustment. Press into the feet and the shins, lift the hips up. Switch the legs over. So then we come and sit back down with the legs the other way around, and we're going to go back down. So, right side, bring the right toes out to the side, hands to somewhere in front of the chest. Look to the right. Press the inner knee down. Lift the right foot up. Drop it down. So 4 or 5 pulses there. Noting whether it's easier, harder, or the same. Then that first side on the last one, just keeping it there. Pause. Again, just checking in that the ankle's nice and level, steady. Relax. Let's lengthen right leg out. Come down onto the forearm, push away through both heels. And we're going to bring this left leg into a 90-degree bend, more or less, inch in a little bit through the waist. And now I'm going to put my hand again on this inner knee. It's not pressing down, it's just resting there lightly. Flex the toes, lift the foot. So for me, this action is relatively easy, especially in comparison to that internal rotation. For many people, it might be a lot easier. I don't have extreme external rotation for sure. And for some people, it's going to be harder. On the next one, hold it there, pause. And I said this was very similar to the pigeon pose, but we don't get that same isolated feeling in the muscles having to switch on to support. This is less of a stretch. Good, and then relaxing, rolling onto your back, cross your left ankle over the right thigh. And back where we began. So hands to the belly, drop the lower back down into the floor. Flex all of the toes, and we're going to subtly guide that top knee away. Then slowly lifting the legs and lowering back down. Taking a few. So there's definitely some active stretching along with this mobility work. Get some core work thrown in as well. And on the last one, pausing, staying there, avoiding that temptation to reach around with the hands. And again, noticing the difference. So for me, this is definitely easier on this left hip. And you may have heard me mention before, if you have a noticeably different side, you can always double up on the harder side, trying to bring about that greater balance between our left and right sides. Relax, release. Feet to the floor. You might like to just rest the inner knees in. Hands to the tummy just to breathe. You can relax the belly muscles. So that's a great little warm-up. If you want to continue with your practice, maybe taking another class now, also it's great to do on its own. What you might like to do is dive into the full-length class. We can use this sequence within a fuller sequence, throwing in many more fun ways to actively mobilize our hips. So I will put a link to the longer class just below this one. Take care. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you soon.